Look at that. The chaos, the noise, the endless frantic need to be heard, to be right, to have the last word. We live in a world that worships at the altar of opinion. We're taught that power is volume, that influence is a constant stream of content, and that silence is weakness. But what if everything you've been taught about power is wrong? What if the most powerful man in any room isn't the one making the most noise, but the one who has mastered the art of silence? The Stoics knew this. Thousands of years ago, in the chaos of the Roman Empire, they understood that while you can't control the world, you can absolutely control your tongue. And in doing so, you control your inner world, your peace, and your power. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." And I would add, to speak on everything is to stand for nothing. Today, we are going to talk about the ultimate Stoic superpower. It costs you nothing. It requires no special equipment. But when wielded correctly, it makes you more formidable, more respected, and more in control than any loud, reactive person could ever be. We're going to break down the 6 specific situations where you must learn to be silent. This isn't about suppressing your voice. This is about choosing your battles with the precision of a strategist. This is about understanding that silence is not an absence. It is a presence. It is the canvas upon which your actions are painted. Stick with me. This might just change how you move through the world. Before we get to the 6 situations, we need to understand why. Why is silence so powerful? It feels counterintuitive. When we're attacked, our biology screams, "Fight back." When we're angry, our ego demands expression. This is the core of it. Reaction is animal. Response is human. Reaction is limbic, emotional, immediate. A response is conscious, considered, and chosen. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a man born into slavery, gave us perhaps the most important rule for inner freedom. He said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But he also said something even more profound. Any person who doesn't think that what he has is more than enough is an unhappy person, even if he is the master of the whole world. What does that have to do with silence? Everything. When you are constantly speaking, defending, explaining, and opining, you are operating from a place of lack, a lack of security, a lack of validation. You need the world to agree with you to feel okay. Your peace is dependent on external factors. Silence, from a Stoic perspective, is the embodiment of the dichotomy of control. You cannot control what others say or do. You can only control your own judgments and actions. Your speech is an action. By choosing silence in volatile situations, you are exercising supreme control over the one thing you truly own, yourself. Psychologically, silence creates space. That space is the difference between the stimulus and your response. In that space lies your freedom and growth. It's in that quiet moment that you can ask yourself the Stoic question: is this within my control? Will my words improve the situation, or just my ego? When you are silent, you are not passive. You are gathering intelligence. You are observing character. You are allowing the other person to reveal themselves fully. You are, as the saying goes, letting the mud settle so the water can become clear. This is the foundation. Now, let's get into the practical application. Here is the first situation where your power lies in your silence. This is the big one, the master key. When anger floods your system, it is a fire, and your words are the gasoline. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was working on a huge project with a partner. We'd invested months. A day before the launch, he sent me a cold email. He was backing out. He listed a bunch of reasons that felt like excuses, and worse, he blamed me for the project's potential failure. I felt the heat rise from my chest to my face. My fingers flew to the keyboard. I drafted a scathing reply. It was brilliant. It was vicious. It dismantled every one of his arguments and exposed his hypocrisy. My finger hovered over the send button. And then I remembered Seneca's essay on anger. He describes anger as brief insanity. He writes, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." I didn't send it. I closed the laptop. I walked away. I let the fire burn itself out over 24 hours. The next day, I reread my email, and I was horrified. It was a monument to my own ego. It would have burned a bridge to cinders. It would have made me feel righteous for about 5 minutes and then created a permanent enemy. Instead, I wrote a 2-line reply. "I received your email. I'm disappointed, but I accept your decision. Let's talk next week." The power in that response was immense. I had not given him my anger. I had not given him the power to make me act against my own character. I remained the stable one, the professional. Your practical Stoic rule is this: when you feel anger, impose a mandatory waiting period. An hour, a day, whatever it takes. Do not speak, do not type, do not text. Anger is a poison that your mind serves to itself. Don't drink it, and for God's sake, don't serve it to others. Your silence here is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of self-command. You find out a colleague, a friend, even a family member has been talking behind your back, spreading a half-truth, undermining you. The immediate gut reaction is to confront them, to defend your name, to set the record straight. I want you to consider a different, far more powerful path: strategic silence. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, faced conspiracies and slander constantly. In his private journal, Meditations, he reminds himself again and again not to be bothered by the opinions of the wicked. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." When you run to defend yourself against every piece of gossip, what are you doing? You are giving the gossip credibility. You are giving the gossiper your energy. You are entering the mud pit to wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. Your silence in the face of slander does 2 things. It sends a message of unshakable confidence. It says, your opinion of me is so irrelevant that it doesn't even warrant a response. That is a devastatingly powerful message. It allows you to observe. Who believes the gossip? Who spreads it? You gain valuable intelligence about the characters of the people around you. Now, this is not about being a doormat. If it's a factual, slanderous lie that is causing tangible professional or legal harm, then you must address it through the proper dispassionate channels: a legal notice, a formal HR complaint. But that is done from a place of calm strategy, not emotional reaction. For 99% of gossip, the Stoic response is to live in such a way that makes the gossip unbelievable. Your character, your work ethic, your integrity, these are your defenses. By not engaging, you starve the gossip of the oxygen it needs to live. It dies on the vine. Your silence is the ultimate rebuttal. We live in the age of hot takes. The pressure to have an immediate opinion on everything is immense. A news story breaks, a scandal erupts at work, a friend tells you a one-sided story about a conflict. The modern man feels compelled to jump in. This is what I think.
But the wise man asks, "What do I actually know?" Epictetus warned us, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters." Extraneous matters are things outside your core purpose and knowledge. When you form a strong opinion without all the facts, you are building a house on sand. And when the next wave of information comes in, and it always does, your house collapses, and with it, your credibility. You look foolish, reactionary, and untrustworthy. Your power here lies in the four most underutilized words in the English language. I don't know enough. Say it with me. I don't know enough to have an opinion on that yet. This is not ignorance. This is intellectual humility. This is respect for the truth. You are withholding your judgment until the picture becomes clear. In a professional setting, this is crucial. The boss asks what went wrong, and everyone starts pointing fingers. The Stoic stays silent, observes, and only speaks when he has analyzed the data and can present a factual, calm assessment. Who do you think gets trusted with more responsibility? The reactive finger pointer or the calm, factual analyst? Your silence here is a sign of wisdom and depth. It shows you are a thinker, not just a reactor. This is different from anger. This is that feeling of completely saturated.
You're stressed, anxious, maybe heartbroken. Your emotional cup is overflowing. And in that state, what do we often do? We call a friend. We unload on our partner. We post a vague, emotional message on social media. We are seeking catharsis, a release. But there's a danger. When you speak from a place of emotional overwhelm, you are not expressing your truth. You are vomiting your temporary state. You are externalizing chaos. The Stoics practiced a concept known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. But they didn't do it to make themselves anxious. They did it to fortify themselves, so when hardship came, they were not overwhelmed. They had a reserve of strength. When you are overwhelmed, you have no reserve. Your number one job is to replenish it, and you cannot do that by talking. Your silence in this situation is an act of self-preservation and respect for others. It's okay to say, "I'm going through something right now, and I need a little time to process. I'll be ready to talk soon." Then go for a walk, without your phone. Write in a journal. The Stoics were prolific journalers. Marcus Aurelius never intended meditations to be published. It was his private dialogue with himself, where he processed his turmoil. Lift weights, sit in silence. Process the emotion internally first. Let it settle. Then, once the storm has passed, you can choose what, if anything, you want to share. Your words will then be a communication, not a contamination. This protects your peace and the peace of those around you. This is a subtle one, but it separates the amateur from the master. How often do we speak simply to hear our own voice? To show off our knowledge? To prove we are the smartest person in the room? This is speaking from vanity. It is ego-driven noise. The Stoic ideal is to be a person of substance, not show. Seneca cautioned against the philosopher who is all words and no action. He said, "Philosophy is not a trick to be played on the public. It's not for outward show. It's not a matter of words, but of facts." Before you speak, ask yourself this Stoic filter question. Is what I am about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Or another version, will this add value to the conversation or just add to the noise? If you're in a meeting and you have the urge to reiterate a point that's already been made, just to get your name in the room, stay silent. If you're with friends and you're about to one-up someone's story with a better one of your own, pause, stay silent.
If you're on social media about to post a clever, cutting remark that makes you look witty at someone else's expense, delete it. Stay silent. Your power grows when you speak only when you have something essential to contribute. When you do speak, people will lean in. They will listen because they know your words are not cheap. They carry weight. By refusing to speak from vanity, you ensure that your words are always filled with value. This is the most important one, and it's directed inward. How many times have you decided to start a new habit, to quit a vice, to build a business, to get in shape? And the first thing you do is you tell people. You announce it to the world. There is a psychological phenomenon at play here. When you announce a goal, you get a little hit of dopamine. It feels like you've already accomplished something. That satisfaction can actually reduce your motivation to do the hard work. The Stoics believed in letting your actions speak for you. They called it ascesis, practice, discipline. It's a private contract between you and yourself. When you decide to change, the power is in the doing, not the talking. Stay silent about your goals. Let the results be your announcement. Marcus Aurelius didn't hold a press conference to announce he was going to be a good emperor today. He woke up and did the work. In the silence of his own mind, he wrestled with his temptations and his weaknesses. Your personal commitments are sacred. When you talk about them, you externalize the energy needed to fulfill them. Keep that energy internal. Let it fuel your actions. The transformation happens in the quiet, unseen moments. The 5 a.m. wake-up, the rejected dessert, the extra hour of study when no one is watching. The man who is silently, consistently building his life doesn't need to tell you he's powerful. It becomes self-evident. Your silent dedication is the most powerful statement you can make about your character. This is the most important one, and it's directed inward. How many times have you decided to start a new habit, to quit a vice, to build a business, to get in shape? And the first thing you do is you tell people. You announce it to the world. There is a psychological phenomenon at play here. When you announce a goal, you get a little hit of dopamine. It feels like you've already accomplished something. That satisfaction can actually reduce your motivation to do the hard work. The Stoics believed in letting your actions speak for you. They called it ascesis, practice, discipline. It's a private contract between you and yourself. When you decide to change, the power is in the doing, not the talking. Stay silent about your goals. Let the results be your announcement. Marcus Aurelius didn't hold a press conference to announce he was going to be a good emperor today. He woke up and did the work. In the silence of his own mind, he wrestled with his temptations and his weaknesses. Your personal commitments are sacred. When you talk about them, you externalize the energy needed to fulfill them. Keep that energy internal. Let it fuel your actions. The transformation happens in the quiet, unseen moments. The 5 a.m. wake-up, the rejected dessert, the extra hour of study when no one is watching. The man who is silently, consistently building his life doesn't need to tell you he's powerful. It becomes self-evident. Your silent dedication is the most powerful statement you can make.
So, let's review. The 6 situations where your silence is your ultimate power. When you are angry, silence is self-control. When someone is speaking ill of you, silence is unshakable confidence. When you don't have all the facts, silence is wisdom. When you are feeling overwhelmed, silence is self-preservation. When your words would be spoken from vanity, silence is humility and value. When you have made a promise to yourself, silence is commitment and action.
This is not a philosophy of passivity. It is a philosophy of profound active strength. It takes far more courage to hold your tongue in the face of provocation than it does to lash out. It takes far more discipline to remain silent about your goals than to boast about them. You are practicing the Stoic art of retaining your power. By not scattering your energy on every reaction, every defense, every opinion, you consolidate it. You become a reservoir of power, not a sprinkler system. You start to move through the world differently. People will sense this shift. They won't be able to get a rise out of you. They won't be able to pull you into their dramas. Your peace will become your fortress. Start small. Pick one situation this week. Maybe not getting drawn into office gossip, or not reacting angrily to a provoking message, and practice your silence. Feel the power of it. Feel the space it creates. Remember the words of the Chinese strategist Lao Tzu, who echoed the same Stoic wisdom centuries earlier. He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Your journey toward mastering this ultimate power starts now. It starts with your next breath and the choice to let it out in silence. Thank you for watching. Go in peace and go in power.